What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the poker vlog. It is Wednesday, July... Shit, I don't even know what date it is. July something. Wednesday... 12th? July 12th. Pretty sure. Wednesday, July 12th. Hope you all are doing well. We're back at Resorts World. It's about 5:45 in the p.m. We're heading into the poker room right now. Gonna hopefully get a seat pretty quickly. I will see you all at the table. All right, so we're starting off strong here. We're on the button. We look down at the best starting hand in No-Limit Texas Holdem, pocket aces. And better yet, we've got a limper in the cutoff who has been playing almost every hand since I've sat down at the table. We're raising this up to $15. We're going to isolate this player in the cutoff and try to play a big pot with them. And unfortunately, the cutoff decides this time to release his card, so our pocket aces don't get any action. All right, we're on the button again. This time we have king, queen off suit. And that same player from the previous hand raises it up to $6 here in the cutoff. I'm going to be 3-betting this, trying to isolate this player once again. I make it 17. Probably could have sized up and made it a little bit larger here, but as played, it folds around to the cutoff, who does decide this time that they're going to go ahead and put in the call. So we are going to go heads up here to a flop. Flop comes down king, jack, 7 with 2 hearts. The player decides to check over to us, and I'm going to be value betting my top pair, decent kicker here, trying to get value from jack X hands, 7X hands, flush draws, and weaker kings. I make it $20 to go. Player doesn't think too long here before putting in the $20 call. So we are going to continue on here to a turn, and the turn card doesn't change too much on this board. It is the 6 of spades. But now the player decides to take a very strange line here and puts out a blocker bet of $20. Now it's back on me, and can we raise here for value? Should we just call? I elect on just calling here and keeping the player's range wide. We see the ace of diamonds on the river. Doesn't change too much. Some of the straight draws got there, like queen 10. Don't really expect him to have queen 10 here too often. Player does decide to continue firing on this river, though. They make it $50. I think we have a pretty clear call here. $50 into a pot of $168. We're getting great odds to call. We don't need to be right here too often for this to be a profitable call. So I go ahead and decide to put in the $50 call, and this player turns over pocket 8s that they turned into a bluff. So our top pair, now second pair on this river, is going to take down this $218 pot. This is an interesting hand. We've got 8-9 of hearts in the hijack. We've got a limper in early position. We're going to go ahead and raise this up and isolate this limper. We make it $12 to go. And it folds around to the under the gun early position limper, who decides to go ahead and stick in the call. So we are going to go heads up here to a flop, which is what we were after here. So we see a flop that, while it's not great for our exact hand, is good for our range. King, 5, deuce, rainbow with 1 heart. So when the player checks it over to us, we should be firing this, I think, with 100% frequency. So I make it $15 to go. Player doesn't think too long before going ahead and putting in that $15 call. We see a great card on the turn, the ace of clubs. We should have all the ace X holdings in our hand. We should have more of the king X and ace X in our range than the under the gun limper. So I fire out here for $25, and they don't think too long here before releasing their hand. So good result for us, winning here with 8 high. Another suited connector here. This time we've got 10-9 of clubs in the big blind. Couple of limpers in the pot. Cutoff decides to raise it up to $15. The button and the small blind both fold, and it's back on us. I'm not going to just be calling here pre-flop. I want to take the more aggressive line. So I go ahead and put in the 3-bet. I go with the 3x sizing here to $45. I think I could be going a bit larger given I'm out of position. And the cutoff doesn't think too long before putting in the call after the limpers get out of the way. So we are going to end up going heads up here to a flop out of position. Flop comes down good for our exact range, king, king, 10. We have all the aces, all the ace kings, king queen suited, king jack suited in our range, including also hands like queens and jacks. So I don't see any reason to not fire here, and I elect to stick with the same size that I used pre-flop. $45, about a half pot size bet. And the cutoff, again, doesn't think too long here before going ahead and flicking in the call. And we see the 5 of diamonds on the turn. Here's where I think I make a big mistake. I should be continuing to represent my strong range here. Again, I can have all the kings, I can have all the aces, all the queens and the jacks of the world. So when I check here, they instantly jam and we're forced to fold our hand. Unfortunately, they show pocket 9, so we did end up having the best hand and we folded the winner. This is a fun one. We've got the ladies under the gun, effectively under the gun. The action player that has been sitting on my right has put on the straddle. I make it 12 to go here, and that's a mistake. I didn't recognize the straddle was on right away, so I normally would have raised this up to 18 to 20 with the straddle on. As played, we do get 2 callers in middle position, and then the small blind decides to go ahead and 3-bet this, makes it $32 to go, and the straddler decides to just call here, which is a little bit strange to say the least. We are not calling. We have to raise this. We've got to protect our hand. We've got to isolate the straddler, who is this action player. I make it $122 to go here. Again, electing on about a 3x sizing. And it folds around to this action player on my right, who was in the straddle. And this player goes into the tank for quite some time on this action pre-flop. Obviously, I'm hoping for a jam. That would be an ideal scenario. I'd prefer to just see all 5 cards. I'm putting this player on a lot of ace-X type holdings. Ace-Jack, Ace-Queen, Ace-10, Ace-9. They elect to just call, though, so we don't see the all-in. We see just a call. So we're going to go heads up here in a 4-bet pot. And the flop comes down, I would say, pretty safe for our pocket queens. We see 10, 8, 3, rainbow. The player doesn't think too long before checking it over to us, and I don't think we have much of a decision here. I flick in less than a pot-size bet of $272, putting the player all in. The player now goes well into the tank. And again, I think we have a fair chance of getting called here by hands like Ace-10. I think we have a fair chance of getting calls by hands like King-10, Jack-10, queen 10, 10 9. This player has shown a tendency to also call light with middle pair and pocket pairs that are below the board. So I think a hand like pocket 9s, pocket 7s could also stick in a call here. So when he's tanking, we are just praying here for a call. We don't want this player to be able to fold. We want to go ahead and get it all. And thankfully he does flick in the call. We see a clean run out, turn over our pocket queens, and this player shows ace 8 off suit. So as you can see, they have a tendency to call light, not wanting to be bluffed, and that pays off for us. So we take down an $850-ish pot here with all the dead money on this 10, 8, 3, 3, 6 board. If you like hands like this, if you like content like this, please do go ahead and hit that like button. If you want to come along on my poker journey, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss future episodes and future hands like this. All right, playing big pots like that make you work up an appetite. So I ordered a wedge salad with blue cheese dressing, and they brought me a side of ketchup with it. So I asked the table, do people put ketchup on their salads? And everybody looked at me like I was nuts. So I showed them that they brought me a side of ketchup, and they all looked disgusted and said no. But I'm going to ask the audience here, leave me a note in the comments. Do you like ketchup on your salads? All right, so after finishing up our dinner, by the way, we did not put ketchup on our salad. No judgment if you like that. To each their own. We have king 3 of clubs on the button, and all the players fold around to the action player who is still on our right, who does not know that it is their turn to act, so the dealer has to remind them repeatedly that it is on them. I'm hoping they're going to be limping in here, which seems to be their preferred approach, but unfortunately they fold. I raise it up to $10, trying to steal the blinds. Small blind folds, big blind puts in the call and defends. So we're going to go heads up here to a flop of king jack 5, giving us top pair. Big blind quickly checks. I'm going to be firing out a bet here, getting value from jack X hands, from flush draws, from straight draws. Big blind doesn't think too long before calling. We see the 3 of hearts on the turn, giving us 2 pair, but also completing the front door flush. So when the big blind checks, I check to exercise a little pot control here. We see the 8 of clubs on the river. Seems like a pretty safe card. So when the big blind fires $20, I think we have a clear call here. They turn over king, queen off suit. We turn over our 2 pair, and we are going to win a small pot here in position. All right, last hand of this session, we've got pocket 4s in the low jack. We get an under the gun raise to $10. Action player on my right puts in the $10. I think we can pretty clearly just call here pre-flop. I don't think we need to be bloating the flop and 3-betting this. So we put in the call, and the small blind, who has an enormous stack of probably just over $1,000 at this point, puts in the call as well. So we're going to go 4 ways here to a flop, and the flop comes down pretty good for our hand, I would say. Jack 5, 4 with 2 clubs, multi-way with a lot of players. Quite very possible someone has a Jack X hand. Quite possible someone has the nut flush draw or just a flush draw. So when the under the gun player decides to fire for 25, unfortunately the action player to my right folds. I think we want to be raising here. I think we're going to get a lot of calls from the aforementioned hands. Hands like ace jack, king jack, queen jack. Hands like ace 9 of clubs, ace 10 of clubs, etc. are all going to be probably coming along. So I put in a $75 raise here on this flop, and the small blind gets out of the way, and it's back on the under the gun player, who pretty quickly says, smells like a set, and folds. So unfortunately, we do not get any additional action here with our flopped set of fours to end the night. That brings me to my favorite part of a winning session, which is cashing out at the cage. We were in the game for $400 and we cashed out for $785. That's a profit of $385. Not bad for a 1-3 game on a Wednesday night in Las Vegas. I'll take the win. When I started the vlog, one of my primary motivators was finding like-minded people who want to get better at playing the game of No-Limit Texas Hold'em. And one of the vlog watchers, Rob, reached out and wanted to meet up and play, so Rob joined me and had a nice win as well.
There you go.